Welcome, woman leader, and welcome to another episode of the Wholeness Wisdom Well. I am your host, Lizete. Our intention today is to share sacred wisdom that supports you to step into your sovereignty and sacred service. And today I'm absolutely thrilled to welcome the beautiful Julia Feng. Welcome, Julia.
Thank you, Lizete. I'm very happy to be here.
Julia and I met through actually mentoring professional women executive coaching. So a few years back. And what I loved about Julia, besides just the being that she is and being in the field of working with women and also men, of course, but really having a heart for women, is that we also have so much of our path on the same line. To introduce her, I'll just read her bio, which will cut us straight to the chase. So Julia is originally from Shanghai, China. She now lives in the Philippines with her Filipino husband and a 15-year-old daughter. So aside from being this executive coach and leadership trainer, serving a global corporate leaders for more than 15 years, she's also a singer, and it is beautiful, I can tell you that, a gardener, a nature lover, and she's practicing oneness with all beings. I absolutely love that, by developing her family farm in the mountains of the Philippines, which is enriching her life experience and integrating her body, mind, and soul. So Julia, thank you so much for being with us on this podcast.
You're welcome.
And, today we just want to really get to know you and to explore what it is that you are going to also be working on and bringing into the Woman Leader Arise Collective in a while. So let us just begin with, if you could give us a summary of what you feel your call is in this very changing and dynamic time that all of humanity is traversing. For you personally, what do you feel is your contribution at this time?
Okay, thank you, Lizete. I think this call that I'm bringing to people is something I have been practicing on myself for over, I think, about 20 years now. And I think it's really proved to be very effective because the principle for me is that if I have not practiced, I will not recommend to other people. And if it doesn't work on me, I will not teach people. Yeah. So the methodology, or whenever you call it, I will call it me at my best, positive change process. So this is strengths-based because nowadays people are going through so much change, and they tend to look around and seeing what other people are doing, and also comparing, like, social media, so many things that you can compare with others. So my methodology is really about look inwards, explore yourself first, and really understand and knowing who you are. Here, I help people to discover their positive core. When you have a core, you will feel very grounded. You will feel very stable inside. And you will also know that you are so unique. You don't have to compare with anyone. You don't have to validate from anyone, from the world, from the external world. And you will be just happy for being who you are once you are really making decisions based on this core. So I call it positive core. So the process actually going through 4 stages. So the first stage is
Julia, just
yes.
one second. Before the process, which I can't wait to hear about the stages, I just want to hack in here somewhere, because I think this is exactly where you and I connect. Besides on many, many levels, because we are on this journey, and I think with you and I, what we started noticing maybe about a year back, or even a year and a half, 2 years ago, was that we kind of walking very, very similar steps, right? Which we'll get into.
Yes.
But what I love about what you are saying is it's all about supporting people to come into that being and that essence that is them, accessing that within them. Now, one of the things that shows up for a lot of people that I meet is that they can get pretty annoyed with hearing what do you mean? I do know myself. You're going to tell me that I don't know about myself. And we tend to have walls of defensive-ness around this, right?
Yes.
So can you explain a little bit about, if anyone is feeling that right now, can you explain how it is in your experience that sometimes we don't get to know some parts of ourselves? Why do we need an external facilitator to support us in connecting to that?
Yes, very good point, Lizete. I know lots of people think they know themselves very well, especially the people in the corporate world. You know, they think they achieve so much, and then they think definitely I know myself. But what I mean is knowing your true self is really about that complete self, which means we're talking about the wholeness, right? Which means we will start to connect with that complete self, which means you don't have any judgment on yourself, which means you don't judge yourself based on your external achievement. Because when you achieve something in the eyes of the third party, you will feel proud of yourself. But when you don't achieve something, you will feel very down. You will start to have the self-doubt. You will blame yourself. And I have seen many people like that. Even they are already highly achieved people. But once they don't achieve something, which means they so much rely on this external validation,
Yes.
So they think that's, we may even call that the ego. You know your ego, definitely, but you still don't know your true self, which means sometimes when you Sorry.
I love that, because you and I, to be able to facilitate, and this is what is very, very important, to be able to facilitate this bridge, what I call a bridge, right? Or a process is like, it serves as a bridge to access that which is hidden of the true self. It is because on a day-to-day basis, we are immersed in this identity that we've created of who I'm supposed to be. And it's very performance-based, of course. So both of you and I, we have walked that journey. Both of us, I believe, have a corporate career, then transitioned into teaching corporate, and then started disconnecting completely within our own personal journeys to needing that validation to know our self-worth from I've performed. Because I found that no matter how I performed, no matter how great I was, it was never enough.
Right.
To get me out of that void, to get me out of that deep point of despair when I wasn't performing.
Yes.
So in my personal journey, I realized that just didn't work. And of course, we each have our own unique way of reaching that end point, what I call the end point of the ego, and the needing to connect with that deeper presence. With that essence of us. So for you, Han, just in your personal story, when was that moment when you were like, I don't get to win in this game. I am exhausted. I am fed up. I am sick of trying to prove myself. I am ready to be that which I really, really am. And I want to explore that. What was that personal moment for you?
Well, the personal moment for me is really, I used to run an executive MBA program for American University in Shanghai. I have run it for 4 intakes very successfully. I also took that program free after negotiating with my boss. So after I achieved that, and then the end of that 4th year, I remember it's the Christmas time, I resigned from my boss's company because I really think, I have done with this game, which means before I thought if I have an EMBA degree, I will be working in the big corporations, big MNCs, and I'll be an executive. I will make lots of money. But after working 4 years there, also interacting with lots of executives, and I really questioned myself, do I really want to live the kind of life that, the people I love are living? I mean, they do look great. They look good, and they have making a lot of money, including my boss, because I made a lot of money for him for this program. But do I really be associating with people like that, the group of people like that? So after I resigned from his company, I did not look for any job. Even though I have my EMBA, I can apply a high-paid job in Shanghai immediately. I can get good job there, good offer. But I just paused on my career, so-called career development. I just really asked myself, what kind of life I really like to live? At that time, I haven't married, but I have a boyfriend, which is my current husband. And I also talked to him what kind of life we would like to build together. So we have this core value which come up, which is freedom. We both value this freedom. So we then think of how we can create a free life, which means nobody will tell you when you should go to work, and nobody call you in middle of night, and you can decide where you want to work and when you want to work. And we can also take care of our child by ourselves without, entrust my parents or caregiver. Yeah, so we kind of talk about almost like 2 months, and then we decided let's just put up our own company, because we can really have the freedom we want. And although from the money making side, we may not make much money at the beginning, but if that's enough to support our living costs in Shanghai, that's good. I mean, I didn't expect to build a company and to get listed, to be really big company. At that time, I think my career, the business, if can support the family financially, that's enough. But we got lots of time, as a couple, we still spend lots of time to do the dating and to talk about the future. And also in terms of my career, I also find out that because I'm a good listener, so I also want to switch my business kind of BD role into learning coaching, be a coach. Yeah. So everything changed.
Everything changed. And it's so amazing that everything changes when we dare to ask that question of what is it that I actually want to do? What is it that I actually love? How do I actually want to live? These are very big, very courageous questions. And that's actually why in the collaboration we're doing together, I actually put you in the month of courage, because it is the question that breaks open the possibility, and a lot of people now in this time especially are realizing that maybe the options that were given to them aren't really feeding the deeper fulfillment, the deeper satisfaction within them. And that is indeed the invitation at this time, to start realizing that the answer is not outside of you. And maybe you are in a career that is not feeding your heart, but you think you're trapped there because, I need money. And we're here to say, actually, there is deeper answers and possibilities than you can even imagine at this point when you dare to go on that voyage with yourself.
Yes.
And there is no one right form. There is no one right way. I find it absolutely beautiful that both you and I actually ended up following very similar paths, because to fast track, right? Right. You gave up the corporate career, you start this business, and then you did something even bigger, which was you ended up in the jungle.
Yes.
So you decide, I'm going into nature, I'm going to live on this farm. And you and your courageous husband, right? Who I think that's beautiful. Also, the partnership, we talk a lot about this in the ecosystem, which is we want to love as well. So our intimate partnership has to be that supportive place that supports us into the future life, right? That we want to create for ourselves. So you and Ramil decided to go to the jungle of Philippines. So where are you now in this journey? Or how did that start?
Oh, okay. This is really part of the dream come true. Yeah, because this dream we've been talking a lot in China when we were living in Shanghai, and we found out the natural environment is not good. You know, the city is very highly polluted, and then we talk about the ideal life environment is because I always love nature. I grew up in countryside, so I want my daughter to have the same experience, grow up in nature. But then Shanghai, of course, not good a place. And then at that time, you know, we have friends in Shanghai told us, you know, 2012 will be the end of the world and there will be a big flood in Shanghai. So of course now it didn't happen, the big flood did not happen. No. But at that time, end of 2009, I already feel very proactively looking for a solution. So we found a place in Beijing on the mountain, group of people are developing a community. So we want to move there. So we sold our house in Shanghai and we send the money to Beijing. But unfortunately, this project did not go. We also lose the money. We lose I think at least 2/3 of our savings on that project. But we lived in Beijing for 7 years and we experienced the life which you have when we can have a small land we can plant. So I would say we have that preparation before we move to the Philippines.
Yes.
So the reason we moved to the Philippines is not because we know in the Philippines there is land and we can develop our farm on the mountain. No, it's because my husband, he really feel he has not achieved anything in Beijing or, you know, not much fun anymore. So he had a little bit depression. Mm-hmm. Although he started to learn sketching, you know, he started to release some of the negative, you know, feeling, emotion. But when the man doesn't have the sense of achievement, you know, he's pretty down, his energy is pretty down.
Yes, it is.
So I supported his decision to move back to the Philippines, looking for a job and start everything again. So again, we moved from Beijing. We didn't bring anything, you know, we leave all the stuff, all the furniture, everything there. So when we moved to the Philippines, still, we don't know what will be our ideal place to live. So we rented an apartment first.
Okay.
Yes.
I would love to interject you for a moment because I'm loving the story. We're seeing this timeline. So we left Shanghai, we go to Beijing, we have this period of 7 years, right? We're going through his process, you going through your process.
Yeah.
Now, you know that was a preparation, right? That was the unearthing of every deep lesson that actually needed, and it might have appeared a failure, right? When you say, oh my God, I went through a depression, but it wasn't. And you know that now. But for those that are maybe, you know, are maybe right here in their own story, right here in this timeline where they said, okay, I know I didn't want the old life. I know I want something new and I've tried it and it failed. What do you have to say to them right now, hun?
Actually, what I can say now to them is that the failure is good because, because it pointed you to the right direction.
Yes.
And which that direction is the right direction, right? And secondly, it actually accelerated your success.
Yes.
If you didn't have that failure, you're probably still lingering and you're still enjoying. But because of that shock, right. You know, sometimes shocking moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
So failure just means not that way. It doesn't mean that the initial vision or intention is not right. It doesn't mean you don't have what it takes. It's just the inner being within you showing you in your reality, sweetheart, not that way. So after that failure, you now led into the Philippines. So continue your beautiful story.
Thank you. Yeah, because, you know, our goal, our dream life is always in nature. So when Ramil started his mushroom project on the mountain with his cousin, And I went to see them, and I immediately liked this environment. And I told Ramil, I said, this is the place we were looking for, and we should move here. I mean, don't rent the apartment in the downtown anymore. Let's just I found out there is a bamboo house in the Philippines, and it's cheap, and you can just assemble there very quickly. So we very quickly moved to the mountain. But it's the cousin's land. But Ramil got to start to experimenting to grow the mushroom.
So there's a second period of training, right? And this is so interesting. So for those that have failed and then started something new, and now this is maybe not exactly right, it's like, okay, it's a step in the right direction. So I love that. Right. So now he's learning how to plant, he's doing his mushroom project, but it still wasn't quite right.
Okay. Right. Because the mushroom project failed too.
Right.
and the worst is that we were, the cousin's family, they asked us to move out of their land in like 3 months. So after we put all our money on his land, built a mushroom house, invested everything, really everything. We don't have much saving at that time. But still, we agreed. We negotiated for 6 months. We moved everything out of their land, and we started everything from nothing, actually, from Ramil's own land, like 3,000 square meters just nearby. So at that time, it was a very tough decision because our car broke down. So we had to take the tricycle down to downtown. We have to rent a temporary apartment for my daughter so she can walk to school. And meanwhile, we have to construct everything. We moved the bamboo house to our land, and we have to get the water, electricity, and then build the kitchen, everything, build the bathroom so that we can have basic living condition.
Yes.
Yeah, but you know what? After 6 months, we are ready. I mean, we move in just before pandemic, January of 2019, and so Ramil and I, we were talking. We said, you know what? It's good because this family, what they did to us, although it's very unethical, very no trusted,
exactly,
but it's still good for us, point us to the right direction, which is we should start from our own ground, our own start our own farm. And of course, lots of difficulties, but we found out we become even stronger, and we become more creative, all kinds of energy is coming up.
And you passed what I would call an initiation in the work, because here you had a very critical choice to make. You had a choice to stay hung up on the injustice, on the anger, on the retribution, like how can family betray me like that? Or it's, this has happened and we don't have much, but we still have each other, we still have our dream, and we're still going to keep working towards that as a family. So you got rid of that energy. And as you said, this new energy comes up and supports you to start creating. Okay, so fantastic. And what did you create now on your own land?
Okay, now we started our lemongrass hydrosol business during the pandemic. Actually, that's another thing, when the pandemic started in January and March, everything stopped. I don't have any income from training business, from face-to-face. So again, our family finance went into the downturn because we don't have other income at that time. We just built the farm. But then we started to think about, because 2 years ago, we started to rent a land, we planted the lemongrass. And now the lemongrass, they are all matured, we can harvest. So we start to look, Ramil, he looked at the YouTube, some video, learning how to put up a home distilling system in a very simple way. And we have some kind of cooker, and then the ice box. So we bought the ice to do the condensing part. So eventually we produced our product, and we started to sell the product in August last year. And we start to have some income every day. Although it's small money, but it's cash. So we have some cash flow.
Yeah, beautiful.
And now we are constructing a formal factory, and we also ordered automated distilling machine. So the business, enter into the like a formal phase right now.
Wow,
so
that is
it's
so
exciting.
It's
and we also got 2 investors from Singapore and from UK, put the money into our small venture right now.
That is incredible. So, not only is it you got a whole new business, which is like, and this lemongrass is incredible. So you're planting it on your own land, and then it's going to the factory, and it's going into water, right? It's like a lemongrass water.
Yeah, it's water. Yes.
Which is incredibly like health boosting and immune system boosting and all of that.
Yes.
So it's a new adventure. And I'm also so curious about your personal evolution, because this personal evolution of who you have become in this process of almost deconstructing the old identity, deconstructing the old life, and what has emerged is something you couldn't even have predicted 7 years ago. Right?
Yes.
You're
right, definitely.
Would you say that this is the true Julia right now, more and more of the time?
I would say my true self got expanded, because before I always think I can only do certain things, in certain field. But now I completely, like you say, you just break yourself, like smash yourself, and those moments really smash you into pieces. But then you have to use your own strength to put things together. And then this new self is really renewed, it's really rejuvenated. It's something you didn't predict that you will become. So in terms of field, I'm not limiting myself in the training, coaching. I'm now into this, you call like regenerative agriculture and aromatherapy. And another field, and then I also start to pursue my artistic side of me. Like I go back to hire a singing teacher. I want to seriously learn to sing, and also hire a dancing teacher. I'm dancing with him, and I think it's just the whole. I think the life is just unfolds, and I also realize, because I'm also doing lots of spiritual development myself. I think when I realize actually we are soul, we are spirits. So we have the nature of being infinite. Yes. So this infinite you can manifest on everything you do. You don't have to limit yourself. Then your life is just flourish, just like all the plants are planted. They flourish, they blossom. Yeah.
So I think this is an ideal moment to kind of talk about our collaboration, because like you, I also found myself, although it was for different circumstances, I met my partner and felt called into nature. And Neil initially was the first one who had the vision of living off grid, living in the country. And by no stretch of the imagination am I saying that that's right for everybody, because it's not. It was not easy. It was funny that you and I found each other again, because we had met in a very corporate setting where we were working as teachers and trainers for executive women in the pharmaceutical industry. Then to find ourselves off grid and, talking about solar power and permaculture and, doing and living with our animals and in harmony with Mother Nature and so on, as well as developing our spiritual practice, which was what? Connecting with that true self of us. So what I find so interesting is that I'm not saying that we need all to give up our work, we need all to give up our city life. The question though is starting to get really clear and really connected to that inner being, which is us. So I was called a few months ago to start what I call Woman Leader Arise. And it is a collective. And it's a collective of people like you. You're one of my partners that is joining this. But why is it? It's because I wanted to create a community where people that feel called to that inner journey, to getting to be clear on who themselves, not coming to us for us to answer them, because the truth is, like you know, and I know, the answer is within them. The answer is within them. What they might not have had is the community to validate that which their heart is saying, the community to support them to take the courageous steps forward that they may feel they need to make in their life, in their love, in their leadership. And but also the expertise of being in the highs and the lows and the deep dark night of the soul that I know you experienced, and yet, and I certainly know I experienced, you know, there was moments where I thought, I just gave up such a comfortable life. I'm sitting here without electricity for a year, and this man is driving me crazy. And have I lost it? And I'm so glad I had the sisters and the brothers and the community and the loving people who said, babe, the answer is inside of you. You got this, you know? But so I have chosen the partners that are going to be on this journey with me, like yourself, which has lived this. So not just spiritually mumbo jumbo and theory of how it's supposed to be. That's lovely. But people that have walked it out in their own life, and very importantly, have also come to discover, like me, that when someone goes deep in this journey and gets really quiet and gets really still and meets their self, what they encounter is that essence is actually pure love. It is pure love. And yes, that heart has been hurt, and that heart has been betrayed, and that heart is exhausted, but also it is life force itself. So this is about bringing our self-healing abilities online, the clarity of our calling online, and doing it all together, because no one here is done. No one here is above anyone else. We just might be 3 steps on. It's like, oh yeah, I know that term. I know. I know how that feels. And I'm here to love you up and let you know that we are here for you. So, so you said yes to being part of this year journey with us, the subscription place, this collective. What about this for you called you in, that you said, yes, I need to work with Lizete, I need to work with these other masters to bring this collective to being? What made you say yes?
I think it just, as you explained to me, you know, this program, this community, why I like to join, because first, just like you said, you know, I'm not here to lecture people, to tell people the theories. No, I actually really quite against that, you know. And I think even to share my experience, sometimes I don't know how valuable, how helpful for people. I think what's more important is really to help them discover who they are truly and connect with themselves. That's the most valuable thing, you know, could happen to them and to the community, because if we can help more people meeting their true self and connecting with their true self, and that's really very, very important for the whole world, because
yes, they are.
Yeah, so I think the reason I like to join is I like to meet these people, and I like to connect with them, and if I can be any useful for them to help them connect with themselves,
oh yes,
that would be great. Yeah,
yes, of course. And that is also why you're here, Julia, honestly, because every partner that's coming on board on this program, and I was told specifically or guided specifically that I needed 12 masters, and masters of what? Masters of their own inner connection that have already said yes to their inner voice, have already taken the courageous steps to make the shifts that they need, have gone through the highs and the lows, right, that can guide others, but also that have a very unique modality, medicine, or magic in their toolkit that can be of use to the journey of wholeness. And so we're circling right back around to where this podcast started. You were going to tell us about your beautiful modality and the 4 steps of the process. So can you walk through that with us, please, love?
Okay, sure. I'll just walk through very quickly. So as I earlier mentioned, first I have to find my own positive core. And so the way to find it is actually, it's really about to think about all the beautiful things you have gone through, all the good things about yourself. It's not through about like a big ego thing. It's more about appreciating yourself. Yeah, I found that many people, they always doubt about themselves. They're already excellent, but they always doubt they didn't do this well or that well. So here it's more about affirmation. It's more about acknowledge what you have already. And this one, I've been using this over and over in all these changes that I went through. I just share with you in the lifetime.
There is the magic.
Yeah, when you see this land that has nothing, but at least you acknowledge there is a land. There is a land who is empty, but there's a full of possibility for you to decide. You can design anything you want on this land. So after you acknowledge your positive core, which part of it is also your core values, like my value is freedom and being creative, and appreciating beauty, appreciating the nature. Yeah. So with that as a kind of solid foundation, you take you to the second phase, which is to dream and dream big, which means to really dare to dream. Don't limit yourself and explore all kinds of possibilities, as long as that's what you really want. And you can always listen to your inner voice. Is this really what I want? Yeah. Yes. If it is, try to visualize it, describe it in writing, whenever any methods you like to make it more visible.
Yes.
So after that, the third stage is really about carefully design, because we don't have lots of resources. That's why we have to look at what do we have already. Again, use that material to carefully design in order to achieve your dream, to realize your dream in reality. Yeah. And then the last stage is called destiny, because after you have done the 3 stages, the last stage is you constantly creating your own destiny.
Constant, every day.
Exactly. Because you are the creator and you are your master of your own destiny. You don't believe anyone tell you what your future will look like. It is you who are making change every day and then working towards to your dream. So you create your own unique destiny. Yeah,
absolutely. And every partner, although they're coming with a very specific angle, a very specific lens, their life experience, their soul's wisdom, what I love about you, sweetheart, is that this is such a powerful process. When we talk about getting to know each other, when we spoke, you said that one of the things you do is you just ask questions. So even though you have so many answers within you, you are totally aware that your answers are for you. And the way that we really help is by asking the right question. One of my very earliest mentors on my journey said to me, the answers are infinite, but for us to access the infinite answers and the right ones for us, we have to have the right question. So I absolutely love, and that question, and I love it's coming from the neuroscience perspective. So in Arise, I always talk about that there are 5 levels of our being that we are addressing in the transformation that we create, which is mind, intuitive heart, soul, body, and energy. So we are this multi-dimensional being where things are operating on different levels. And as we grow in mastery, we come into a deeper sense of wholeness of self, where I've got all my faculties online and serving me, not working against me, not in duality, not causing doubt and fear and all of these other energies. But I love that in this program, you are bringing your genius and modality to serve this community on our grand adventure, on our great quest of how do we be this love that is within us, this dream that is within us, this service that is within us, and have the courage to bring that forward for the good of all. Yes, including for me, my well-being, my fulfillment, my joy.
Yes, yeah, it includes me too.
Exactly, it includes me too. Yes, beautiful. But I absolutely love that. No one of the partners is like, we've had so long that paradigm of, okay, this is what you need to do, this is who you need to be, and then you've got it. And we are literally saying, no, you be you. Okay, and this adventure does have traps, does have holes, does have a certain valleys that we have to traverse. And that's why the guidance is here to serve. But ultimately, it is about everyone coming into their own mastery.
Yes, yes.
On that note, my love, and coming to the end of our beautiful time together, is there anything that you would love to say or share to the person listening to this, considering joining us on our adventure, or reaching out to you individually, because both of those things can happen and it's perfectly allowed because we operate in freedom. What would you love to say?
I like to say to people that actually very simple 2 words, believe yourself.
Yes. Oh, yes. And yet, and this is it. It's like the minute you say that, my being goes to, oh, yes, I know. But even when I've tried, I got hurt. Oh my God. And then I tried and it failed. And so this is why I focused on your personal story, Julia, because you are where you are because you chose, in spite of the failure, in spite of the fear, in spite of it being different, you chose, together with your beautiful husband and your lovely daughter who's on this incredible adventure of yours, to say, we choose our inner truth.
Yes.
And it's not easy, but that's why this collective is here to support so many others. And I'm so thrilled that you are on this journey with me, my sister. And I'm so grateful that you said yes.
Yeah. Me too. I'm also very grateful, Lizete, for inviting me. I think this is the right space, right place for me to be. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
it's also like feeling.
Yeah,
we will have lots of fun and make this journey more, not really. When you look at this journey, should be fun. Yeah.
It is fun. It is absolutely fun, and it's profound, and it's light, and it's loving, and it's a soft place to land.
Yes.
And very intelligently engineered for our intellectual selves, because your neuroscience background is also incredibly fascinating. So Julia, thank you. And thank you to everyone who's been on this podcast with us with this episode. I hope that you are filled with encouragement that now more than ever, it is absolutely imperative for you to follow that call and connect to that sacred service that is within you, that gift that is within you, to be that vibration of love, be that vibration of mastery for your family, for your well-being, for your community, for your leadership, for your clients. And it doesn't really matter where you are right now. We are all on a journey of finding the truth within ourselves and creating that new reality for ourselves. So blessings, everyone, and thank you, Julia.
You're
Much love.
welcome.
See you
Blessings
next
to everyone.
episode.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
See you soon. Bye.